When we talk about our spiritual family and about breath work, which is kind of the language of the spiritual family, I always like to start by inviting the spirit of breath in. So I'm going to ask you to get yourself comfortably situated wherever you are. Have your spine relatively straight. And if you are comfortable, let your eyes close. And imagine a ball of light, radiant life energy at the base of your spine. This is your life force, which was given to you by Creator, with which to maintain your body in health and well-being, clear your mind, and align your spirit with Source. So as you inhale now, slowly bring that ball of light energy up your back to the top of your head. And as you exhale, let it come down the front of your body. Let's do this several times. Begin without pause, inhaling up the back, sending a light healing energy to every vertebrae. And as you come down the front of your body, sending a light healing energy to every vital organ, as though you were bringing all of your inner parts into harmony. And I'm going to ask that we dedicate this time that we spend together talking about spiritual community to serve the highest good of everyone here, so that each of us takes with us something that enhances our life today. And that we have a willingness to share from our heart when we're called to, in a way that enhances everyone else. As this indeed is why we're together. And if you're willing now, breathe into your heart area, which is like the inner sanctum of this sanctuary that you created with your breath and your intention. And as you breathe into the heart area, ask Source, however you define Source, whatever is Source for you in your life, what it is that's most important for you to take from our time together. Thank Source and the spirit of breath. And with a few deep and clearing breaths, come back, let your eyes open and see the other members of the spiritual family that you called in together today. As most of you know, I am Jim Morningstar, and I am the director of transformations and the therapeutic breathwork training program. About a month or so ago, I was doing my own life review and wondering, after doing this work since 1970, whether it was kind of time to hang up the spurs and ride off slowly into the sunset. And then the resounding message came through: no, there's still joy to be had. Not just work to do. There's always work to do. We know that. But this is joyous work. And that is calling together like-spirited individuals who have the intention to learn and to grow together. Now, I mentioned that therapeutic breath work was something that I considered to be the language of spiritual family. Every person on the face of the earth breathes. In fact, I think everything breathes in the universe. Everything takes in and lets go. But there's something special about people who get together with a conscious intention to have that breathing be a life support, not just for their group, but for our world. And as we discovered since the mid 1970s, which was the resurgence of breath work, it was called rebirthing at the time, the breath itself will take us to states that our conscious mind cannot. And this was such a wonderful rediscovery. It wasn't brand new. People have been doing this in China and Tibet and all over the world in indigenous communities for centuries. But we recognized that we could go to higher states, and then we went back to business as usual often. And how do we maintain those higher states? Well, it was obvious that came in community. Because in community, we rewrite the scripts of group participation. Started out with our family, schooling, education, community. And we learned a lot of the belief systems, who you can trust, what is safety, what does survival mean? And they were useful, perhaps at the time, although some somewhat misguided. But we're in a different place now. We're at a place now where we know that we can use these tools to rewrite some scripts in our life, some scripts that were useful in their incipience, but now have outlived their welcome and actually have become barriers to our growth. And so this is what excited me to stay on the path. Number one is I wanted to have more playmates. I wanted to have more people with a common intention to continue to learn and grow and find new things, discover new things, create new things. And that this is most efficiently, effectively, and lovingly done in community. But that wasn't enough. Then it occurred to me, as a co-director of the Global Professional Breathwork Alliance, I know that there are communities all over the world. There's Breathwork Africa, Breathwork Japan, Breathwork, all over the world, we have communities. Many of these communities are crying out for, how do we make connection? We don't want just to be in our own silos anymore. And so here's where the concept of connecting communities together in one larger family was birthed. And right now, today, this is the introduction to how this can work for us all and actually increase the energy that we all have to use in this next chapter of our life. We are starting a new chapter, not just individually in our lives. Of course, we're doing that all the time, but the planet really needs a new chapter right now. The planet needs a new basis upon which to treat other human beings. So the things that we study in this Creative Life Community series are not brand new, unheard of. We're not talking about life on Mars and what's life support there. No, we're talking about this planet Earth. And what are the tools that we have on this planet Earth that we can use and upgrade on? They're right here in the Creative Life Community series. First of all, our spirituality. Our spirituality is, I saw a bumper sticker coming out of Outpost Foods last week, and it said, God is too big to be contained in just one religion. It's like, yes, exactly. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with religion. Absolutely. Religion is a vehicle for many people to join together in community and connect with spirit. We're talking about now opening that up and us re-examining what is the basis of our spirituality. That's seminar number one that we're going to be dealing with. That's only half of seminar number one. The second is mind mastery. What are the principles of how the mind works? And how can we have it work for us rather than we're constantly trying to get it to quiet down, focus on what we want it to focus on, blah, blah, blah. The monkey mind, as they say. So we'll be doing that in the first seminar. Second seminar, we're getting right into embodiment. Jane and I will be leading the body mastery seminar, and Jane is going to talk a little bit in a few minutes about what she is contributing to that. The third seminar is on prosperity. My co-teacher for that day is Molly Richard, who is got a particular focus and expertise in working with finances and money. And that's one aspect of prosperity. What I've discovered over the years is when we broaden that concept of what prosperity really is for us, lo and behold, the finances become easier. So Molly, again, will share a little bit of what she'll be teaching this year. And then we go to loving relationships. Here, Lenny Del Vecchio and Jane Ader and myself will be looking at those patterns of relationship that we took on by watching how our parents relate, by watching how our siblings related, watching how teachers relate to students, and so on. We get to rewrite those scripts. And then in our final of the series, we're going to work with completion. And Kate Becker will be co-teaching that with me, and she will talk a little bit about what she's going to present on completion. Because we want to end this series not in midstream, not like a cliffhanger. Oh, you got to come back for the next one. No, we want to end this series complete. And what that means to have a sense of completion in life. And what are the main impediments to that? Okay, I've mentioned the teachers and the particular people who have greased the wheels for this multi-community networking that we're going to be doing are our organizers that I will introduce in just a minute too. Because the way this works is that we're going to spend 5 Sundays together. And the first 2 hours are going to be with our local community. And we'll get to bond, to do extra. All these seminars are not listening to lectures, not taking in information just in the head. They're about organic learning. So about interaction. We do exercises, experiential things together. It's not taking notes and getting new information. It's about experiencing how I can be different, discovering things that are within my own cells that I didn't know about. So first 2 hours of the Sunday are going to be devoted to working with each of those 5 areas I talked about with our local community. Then there's going to be a half-hour break, get snacks, use lavatory, whatever. And we're going to have the global community working at that time. This is an international community. That's the second 2 hours of our series. We are now going to involve members from around the world. And so those first 2 hours, we're just doing exercises and we're paired with members of our group. The second 2 hours, we can be paired with anyone in any of the communities. So we're going to have a essential connection with community members around the planet. That turns my crank. Now, the organizers here, Ashira, you want to just say howdy to us and what it is that excites you about organizing and doing? Because Ashira was actually taught a Creative Life series, which was kind of like the infant of this larger series that we're doing here.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah. Hi, Ashira, coming to you guys from right outside Washington, D.C. And I love being a part of this. I like anything that has to do with personal growth, which is why I love teaching the course a couple of years ago and wanted to bring this forward now and take advantage of some of your senior master folks to really help enlighten us through some of the onion layers we like to peel off of ourselves in life when we go through things, and this kind of class is what helps bring a little more freedom to our body and a little more peace to our mind and creates more safety, trust, and connection. And there's just this safety and this feeling of like I'm not alone when we're in these communities with you, which is why I've loved being and working with you over the years. And so it's something I want to help bring to the world, hence organizing and being a part of doing some things like breathing with on the side. So we've got our monthly lectures, and then we'll also have monthly breathe at the least as part of this to help with some cohesiveness with some of the local communities, and not just here in Maryland, DC area, but also Keith, who we'll hear from in a minute, is in Alabama, and we're going to join our groups together. So we're also, and I know some of my people are around the country. So we've got a nice collection of people all creating and doing for ourselves and making our lives better through being in this together. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Ashura. And this is why I have people like Ashura around. Whenever I miss something, someone picks it up and very graciously reminds people of it. The Sunday meetings are like 2/3 of the energetic connections that we have. The other third is the monthly breathing, where we look at topics of the month. Spiritual psychology would be the first month. And then we get the intentions of each person in our local community and we breathe together. And this really seals it in. This really makes it cellular learning. And then there's a completion to that, and we're on to the next month. Okay, Keith.
Hey, everybody. I'm glad to be here today. I'm Keith Rowe, and I am in Huntsville, Alabama. And I am helping organize with Leah is here today. She's helping also organize the Huntsville group. But after doing the residential retreat, I think back in August with you, Jim, I realized the power in these exercises and in the community that you have to have in that safe container that you need to be able to do such inner work. And that's what I love about this. We have a great community, and you are able to help us all hold more space for everyone so that we can all continue to grow. So I'm excited. We've got a great group developing, and it's going to be fun, and really looking forward to the mid-month breathe so that we can all just kind of connect more and just keep growing our community. So I'm glad to be here and blessed to be a part of it. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Keith. Thank you.
Keith.
Cassie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
I am in
Cassie.
Lawrence, Kansas. And Jim, when you just had us kind of feel into that energy of being connected all over the world, I just saw all of these lights, and when I feel into why this work is so important to me in community, like you've been saying, that's how I feel when I'm in containers with you and all of you. So many of your faces are so familiar, and I can't wait to bring more people in so that we can all continue to feel, like Ashira said, those places of not being alone, and all of us that are here to do really beautiful things together on the planet. We need each other, and it's that time, it feels like, in history that we're kind of the pioneers, and it's lovely to be in groups with people that are also pioneering and working from a heart-centered space.
Beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank you, Cassie. Now, there are two other community centers that are going to be organizing, and right here in southern Wisconsin, that Rich Ocampo is one of the co-organizers for that, and the other is Sherry Ward, who's sitting right here in our room. So Sherry, I'll just let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, Rich and I are very excited to be doing the Creative Life series, and we have a wonderful space, and we're looking forward to doing a lot of different things there. So I think, like you said, everyone's alluded to being in the energy of this community and the need to bring it forward into other communities. And for myself, I feel very blessed to have Rich to work with. And so this is going to be a great opportunity for us to utilize a beautiful space. It's an old Methodist church, and it's just a great space to bring community together. So this is kind of our first step in starting that community. So we're very, very excited.
Great.
So
Thank you, Sherry. And now Holly Soriano is in Los Angeles, and Holly is not going to be leading a group, but she's going to be promoting this group. Holly, can we hear from you? What excites you about promoting the Creative Life Community Series?
So for me, I started the modules in 2020 with little experience, and then I facilitated over 100 volunteer sessions when I went to the residency, and then I've been slowly but surely, taking the classes, and I took this, and I got my level 3 certification on Friday, and I feel like I've been run over by a Mack truck because I'm still integrating everything. But I'm super excited about digging into this and helping create energy around this, because really I feel like the real work has just begun. And the really important thing is it's progress over perfection. And so just helping people, giving themselves permission to fail big and to not worry and just be present with what is, rather than beating ourselves up, which is really easy to do. And so I'm here to observe and promote. I'm here to take care of myself and to help lift you guys up.
Thank you, Holly. So we're just going to touch in and introduce the teachers now, and a little bit about what is going to be taught on those 5 Sunday meetings. We're not going to go into great detail, but we're just going to hit some highlights and what benefits would derive from participation in it. And then we want to hear from you all, questions that you may have, comments, and so on. See, to me, I'm not interested in just having lots of people in the community. I'm interested in people who want to come and work and play, and they know what it's about. So this isn't for curiosity seekers, for people who think they might someday might want to entertain their spirituality or live in their body. These are people who, for the most part, already tasted that and want more. Okay, so the first Sunday is on spiritual psychology, and this is my specialty. This is my bailiwick. After getting a degree, I was a psychologist for a day, and then I quit because I didn't want to be a talking head analyzing people as my life work. So it wasn't until I found body work and the embodiment of spirituality that I said, I'm in. This is what I want to learn. And of course, if you want to learn something, try teaching it. I'm still learning. So the first day, spiritual psychology, we're going to look at your spirituality. I already talked a little bit about this, so I won't go into depth. But again, it's not going to be listening to me lecture. The real heart of this spirituality section is the exploring that you will be doing together. The second part of that day is on the psychology part, or the mind, and how the mind works. Most people, their mind is like water is to a fish. They're just swimming around in it, banging into things, swallowing various debris, and not knowing that they are actually the master of their mind. And I'm not promising, oh, you're going to master your mind in 2 hours. No, I'm going to give you some tools. And I have been studying psychology and spirituality my whole life. That's what I do. So I've looked at Buddhism, shamanism, everything from around the world. I'm taking intensive Taoist training in body work. So you never stop learning. But there are tools, and I want to give the best tools that I know of all of the study that have been the most incisive things that have worked for me and many people actually who are sitting right here in this room. So that will be the first seminar, Spiritual Psychology, in February. Now, March, we're going to really dive into the body. And Jane, would you tell us a little bit about what you've got up your sleeve?
Body mastery, to me, it sounds a little bit like we're going to arrive to this point where we're just at this end point, but really it's not that to me. It's really, body mastery is about dialogue, developing a dialogue with our bodies so that we have that dialogue and that connection throughout our lives. And how do we connect with the body? How do we connect more deeply with the body if we already feel somewhat connected? Then how do we can listen to the wisdom? So it's really about deep presence to the body, listening to the wisdom of the body, and finding what maybe our healing path is today, which is probably different than it was yesterday, or 10 years ago, or 2 years in the future will be different. So it's a constant dialogue, and we're going to learn a little bit more about how to touch in with that.
Okay, thank you, Jane. I'm teaching the second part of that day, and we'll bring into focus the body as an energy conducting system, the body as a means of communication. In other words, you're broadcasting loud and clear all the things about your life through your body. And we think, oh, no one can see. I'm wearing clothes, I'm hiding. Well, no. Learning how to read the body is important, not because we want to learn the secrets of everyone, but we want to truly understand what they are communicating to us and how we are communicating to them. And then the body product of our upbringing, the patterns that we learned in our household from our family. So we want to come out of this having our body being a friend and a lifelong companion rather than something that we're struggling with or feel imprisoned by. Okay, now we go on to prosperity. And we have a new teacher. Molly has been teaching prosperity and finances these many years, but new to the Creative Life series. Molly, would you tell us a little bit about what you're looking to share with us in that?
Yeah, sure. I'm excited to be here. I went through the Creative Life series a few years ago and got so much out of it. So I'm excited to be able to share everything that I learned in that series with everyone participating this time. So this week on prosperity, we're going to talk about using breath as a template to understand the balances of giving and receiving in our lives and how we can open ourselves up to more freely giving, more freely receiving, and just noticing when there's blocks in one direction or another, and just to notice it and breathe with it and open up those blocks so we can live that full experience of fully giving, fully receiving, and getting to enjoy all that comes with both sides of that cycle. We're also going to just do some extra work to include money in the conversation of prosperity. We're not going to work around it. We're going to look straight at it and incorporate it into our understanding of our wellness and our resourcefulness in our life. You know, we come to breath work and we leave more resourced, and we can apply that framework to our interactions with money as well. If we're looking to how we can be more resourced in our lives, let's include money in the toolbox. And sometimes it takes a little extra work to feel comfortable doing that. It's a part of life that often gets excluded from this wellness conversation, but it's one we're gonna just start noticing ways that maybe we could include it in this overall wellness conversation. I'm excited to be together again in April.
Thank you, Molly. Some of the games that we play in prosperity that I love is learning the myths about money that we absorbed from our young life. You know, money doesn't grow on trees, filthy lucre, whatever. We get to break those myths and to start fresh with a true sense of prosperity. Okay, then the following month, we are looking at loving relationships. And Lenny couldn't be with us today, but Lenny and Jane are teaching with me that day. Jane, back to you. It's a little bit about the loving relationships.
Lenny and I talked about teaching this together along with Jim because it's about relationships with others and how we flow together. So as we were discussing this the other day, we were talking about how we want to share about being love as opposed to seeking love. How to be present to the love that we are, and then how being present to the love that we are really helps to ease the connections with other people. And the more that we can be present in that love, that space of love, that then we create an ease without us in connection, and not just in romantic relationships, but in colleague relationships, in communal relationships, in friendships, in parent-child relationships. So the deeper we get an access to that within us expands outside of us.
Really, thank you, Jane, because that is where I've wanted to take the Loving Relationship Seminar, and you hit the nail right on the head. We will look at some relationship patterns and things like this, but you spoke the core of it, Jane. Thank you. And to round off our series with completion, I'm so excited to have Kate Becker with us, who said that this was one of her favorite topics to talk about. So, Kate, can you share a little bit about what you want to present?
Well, I believe I said it's one of my favorite topics to learn about, which is in the teaching of it too. So the primary umbrella, bigger vision that our heart can expand into is thriving. So we have this finite self and world that we're in, and then we have this infinite nature. So part of what has gone on, and as a part of our inheritance, our cultural or our inherited psyche-ness, is that we have this high value on an expression of and relationship to doing, so to productivity. And less emphasized is the state of full receptivity and being. So this causes just an extraordinary amount of dissatisfaction, frustration, and suffering. And rather than the model that we have that's most common, I call it the arrival myth, which is, I will be at peace when. I will forgive myself when. I will open my heart or connect or create my life's work when. This or that other innumerable ducks are in a row. So this idea that, this myth that is part of our overculture, that we have to fix and solve and control and engineer all of the components of our mind and our life circumstance in order to feel whole and at peace. How much devastation, our soul, our wealth is devastated by some of that mythology that we've inherited. So rather than the arrival myth, which is kind of the current operating format from our overculture, I want to look at the nuance and the beauty of evolving. So there's the change, the finite part, evolving from a place of completion. So that the changes and the doing can happen, but less in a reactive way. So that we have made space in our life, in our being, bravely so, for the state of being to beckon forth the next creative inspiration that will be the core of our doing. So we're doing from a place of inspiration and wholeness rather than the deficit of expectation and things like that. Just, things like that. It's a very wealthy topic, and I'm super excited to be in it with you all.
Oh, me too, Kate. You see why I have these teachers here. They get right to the core of the issue. not like dancing around the edge of it, get to the core of it. Some of the, I'll just throw in some of those boulders that get in the way of our feeling complete, we will cover there. Little things like the birth trauma, parental disapproval syndrome, specific negatives, multi-level karma, and the unconscious death urge. Yeah, little things like that. We want to make sure we get them out of the closet, that we move forward. And I think it was Molly that said this, we're going to look the stuff right in the eye. You know, we're not going to dance around it, brush it over under the carpet. We're going to look it right in the eye and pull no punches, as it were. And I don't care if you, like me, have taken this elements of the Creative Life series for 33 years. It is brand new when we come to it fresh, and we come to it with a new community, and we come to it in the now. Because now has never been on the planet before. This now. A very important part of what we're doing here, and one who has been doing this aspect of the work, the mid-month meeting, is right here in the room with us. And Andy, I'd like to, if you're willing, I'd like to have you say just a couple of words about what you have discovered over the years in bringing that group together to breathe.
Hi, I'm Andy. What I'll say off of what Jim just asked is in breathing together and often breathing with a common intention or around a topic, let's say, as you know, the class we're taking that month, whatever it is, what I found is so important is how alike we are rather than different from each other. And when we meet and we have an intention to breathe together, to be present with each other, whether it's through virtual means or being physically together. And from what I understand, Jim, this is going to be a combined of the virtual and present in the room folks. How the breath is here to inform and being the love that we are. Throughout all these topics, throughout all these subjects, throughout all of this thing that we call life, that we're walking through, that we're journeying through, that we are experiencing, one of the most important things is to remember that we are love. And in a shared breath, whether we're in such and such a place on another continent even, or we're right here in the room together, we are sharing that energy of love. And Jim helped me many years ago to discover one of my most potent truths is the essence of our self as love. And even though I struggle, and many of us struggle at times to remember who we really are, breathing together brings us back to that essential self of us as loving beings in this world. And so at the monthly meetings, we can share about how this particular topic or whatever we're on that month, how we're experiencing it, what new awarenesses might we have, or what's going on in my life this moment or today, tonight. So it's going to be kind of open. The most important thing is the community of the spirit of breath and the spirit of love. And so that's what's tripping my trigger is the expansion of myself as loving being through connecting with others and breathing together. Because we're all breathing all the time. we might as well come together and do it consciously with each other.
Beautiful. Thank you, Andy. The date we meet is the second Sunday of the month, and the breath circles, or the mid-month meeting, as they're called, will be determined by your local organizer. So let's check in with folks here. Some people have already signed up for it. Some people are interested and curious. Okay, we're going to pause the recording here now. So, how enheartening. I mean, just, this is my dream coming true. So people can connect and mutually share our highness. If you feel that calling to be drawn together and to join us in this, the door is open. So blessings to us all. I look forward to seeing you all virtually or in person. Mwah.